everyone, so I hope you like that new intro. I'm just going to jump right into today's video, and that is addressing my mistakes I have made as a pet owner and in my past video. So my number one mistake, I would say, is it's kind of ironic because it's in 10 mistakes hermit crab owners make. I did not have a correct amount of substrate here, and I'm sure if you read through the comments you can find tons of comments that say you should have 6 inches of substrate. Well, yes, 6 inches is the proper amount. Here I only had 1.5 or 2 inches, which that is completely my mistake, and I apologize for that. I do now have 6 inches of substrate. The crab I had in the tank at this time, his name is Garth. I still have him. He's about he's about 3 years old now, and he is living happily and healthily, and he's doing really well. I also have more climbing materials, which I didn't have like too many climbing things, so that's another mistake, but it wasn't as big as the lack of substrate that I had, which was a really, really bad mistake. So again, I apologize profusely for all of that. Hopefully you guys can learn from my mistakes, and I always appreciate constructive criticism and comments like that, notifying me if I am making a mistake, because I would rather know so that my pets can get proper care. So I thank you guys for commenting about that, and again, I apologize for that mistake and everything. And I feel like a lot of people do that, making their substrate too shallow. So that's an important thing to remember when you're having your hermit crabs tank 6 inches. So the next mistake I want to talk about is I used painted shells in this video. I do want to say I didn't actually have any painted shells in there at the time, but I did a lot of research when I got crabs, but I didn't know that painted shells could potentially be toxic. So now I only have natural shells. I actually made a video about only using natural shells, but that was another mistake I made. And the reason there's no substrate in this video, by the way, is because I did not have hermit crabs at the time. I just kind of set up the tank. So no painted shells. That's one thing I made a mistake about, so don't do that. So this here is another one of my more major mistakes, and that was I had a tank for my African dwarf frog, and he only had 1 gallon for his tank. I also didn't have a filter in there, although I will say I did do partial water changes like daily. So I mean, filters are obviously always the best, but I will say I did do partial water changes like a lot. I had a 1 gallon, which really I should have had at least a 2.5 gallon or 3 gallons, which really for African dwarf frogs, you're going to want like 5 gallons though, and it's preferable to have 2 frogs so that they have company. That was one of my mistakes. I plan to make another video on their care because I see like those little tiny cube tanks for them, and that really upsets me. So again, I apologize so much to my pets, to my viewers and everything. I unfortunately do not have these frogs anymore, but my cage size was much too small here, so if you get African dwarf frogs, make sure to get a bigger tank. So this isn't a mistake that I made, but I did get some questions in the comments about this because I do read your guys' comments. So this is not my actual tank. As you know, if you've seen my other hermit crab videos, this is a bad example tank that I use because I was doing kind of like a bad example video with the painted shells. So this is not my actual tank. Again, do not have a tank like this. You can watch some of my other videos reiterating that you should not have a tank like this. So please get a bigger tank, like a 10 gallon, and don't have a tank like this. It's very bad. Now, again, I just want to apologize so much for these mistakes. I want to apologize to all of my viewers who saw me making these mistakes. And thank you for letting me know in the comments. If you ever have any constructive criticism, please say something, but please say it in a respectful manner because I do read the comments and words can hurt. So, like I said, please just be respectful, but I totally appreciate all of your comments if you're letting me know that I'm making a mistake, because I want my pet's well-being to be as best as it can be, because I really, really, truly do care about my animals, and I love them so much, and I would never do anything to hurt them intentionally. So I apologize for all my mistakes, and hopefully you don't make any mistakes.